Um, Hello, welcome to another interesting episode of Africa Rise with Susan West. This is a beautiful Sunday here in London, and I do hope that wherever you are joining us from, that you're having a beautiful day. As you join this broadcast, please do the needful, which is create watch parties, invite your friends, and of course, send in your questions and comments as you may have them. If you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed to our channels, please do so. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube, Africa_Rise.tv on Instagram, and SWOB21, SWOB21 on Facebook. Yes, so Senator Shehu Sani has just joined us. I'm just going to take a very short read of the late president of Chad, Idriss Déby. Idriss Déby Itno was a Chadian politician and military officer of the ruling Patriotic Salvation Movement, who was the president of Chad from 1990 until his death at the hands of militant forces when commanding troops on the front line. Of course, just a couple of days ago, Déby was a member of the Bidiat clan of the Zangawa ethnic group. So, with that little bio of President Déby, I will bring on Senator Shehu Sani. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for honoring our invitation once again. So really quickly, our topic of discussion today, of course, is just making an attempt to understanding the person, the legacy of Idriss Déby of Chad. The reason is because it's a little bit conflicting or confusing for some of us who are not well versed in, the knowledge or the politics of Chad. This is a man who is a military leader who has been in power for 3 decades, but it's a little bit polarized. His personality is a bit polarizing in the sense that he's been there for so long, but people seem to really love him. So do you want just go ahead and throw more light on who this man is and a little bit of the history of him and his country?
Thank you, Susan, for having me once again. Well, first of all, the late Idriss Déby was a man who has his good sides and also bad side and also ugly side, like any human being. But as a leader, there are areas you can commendably say he did a good job, and there are areas where he has failed. As a rebel who took over power almost 3 decades ago, people like him have continuously hold on to power in the continent, refusing to abide by the constitution or changing the constitution of the country, and in the process of violating fundamental rights of citizens and also crushing the opposition.
See, network interference. Senator is frozen. Welcome, Diet Africa. Yes, I will ask him. Diet Africa wants me to ask the senator about the security situation in Kaduna. I will ask him as we go on. Unfortunately, the network has once again interfered because Senator Shehu is joining us from Abuja, Nigeria. I'll try to see if we can get him back. Oh, he's back now. Sorry about that.
Aha. So he could be termed as one of the African dictators who has held on to power and refusing to give it up. But the good side about Idriss Déby is that history has placed him in a position where he played a positive role in terms of stabilizing his country and also leading the battle against insurgency, terrorism, and extremism in the Sahel. And for the fact that Nigeria in the last 1 decade has been a victim of this extremism and terrorism. Idriss Déby was one good friend that we will miss and who has played a very important role in the sub-region when it comes to the battle against these terrorists. So history will somehow be kind to him, despite the fact that he has held on to power for a very long time. But he has been able to build a very strong army that has been able to protect his people and even render services to other countries within the West African sub-region in their fight against terrorism. So that is why he is not being seen to be one that is in the light of Museveni or Paul Biya or Mbasogo Nguema of Equatorial Guinea or any of these dictators. The positive side of him has always been celebrated by those who have seen his effort and all that he has invested in the last decade or two. So as far as Derby is concerned, he will be judged in history as one who has built a competent, virile, and potent force against terrorism, and one who has explored the military resources of his country and developed it to where it is today, but also one who has violated fundamental rights, cross opposition, and refused to obey the rule of law. So I believe this is the irony of the history of Idriss Déby as a leader. And then for the fact that he has also been in the front line and he has lost his life fighting as what the narrative is, so we don't know what will come later. But a lot of people see him as a brave soldier, a courageous man who has led the fight from the front, comparatively to other leaders in Africa who have said a lot about terrorism, but their conduct, their stewardship, and their output in terms of matching their words with action has not been effective in the last decade or two.
Right. When you, of course, when you mentioned, talked about him, about the strong army he's built, and how it has been also, of course, of benefit to other countries. Nigeria would be one of the countries that benefited from the army of Chad. I remember a few years ago, we were feeling insulted to a great extent as Nigeria, that Chad had to cross into Nigeria to fight Boko Haram. Now that his son has been installed as the next person to lead that country, what does this portend for Nigeria as far as security challenges is concerned?
Well, we have lost a great friend, one who has been of help to us in the times of our need, in our crisis moments. And for us to have lost such a person, whom even the terrorists see him as a nightmare, it has a serious implications for Nigeria. But I believe that if the machinery he set in Chad is one that is well inherited by his son and also well utilized, well, we will still be appreciative of that. But the danger of it is that if his son or the new leader of Chad doesn't have that multilateral thought and vision of the fight against terrorism, we will certainly pay dearly for it. At a moment like this, having a neighbor who is strong, who is competent, and whose force can complement our own is indispensable to the fight against terrorism. We can remember last year when he led the fight, even through the territory of Nigeria in terms of hunting down these terrorists. There was a time the Boko Haram insurgents took some parts of the islands in the Lake Chad, and they were able to subdue even Nigerian troops. It takes the Chadian troops to even encore into our country, dislodge the terrorists and reclaim the land and then hand it back to us. This was a narrative that has been known very much by people who live around that area. So as far as we are concerned, the death of Idriss Déby has a serious security implications for Nigeria. And we hope that his son will carry the mantle and maintain those alliances, those fraternities, and those concourse in terms of trying to, the effort being invested to neutralize terrorism in the Lake Chad region and also in the Sahel.
Right. Just because I know that to great extent you're very well, you're well versed in that area, and of course, probably even close to maybe know the family. But for people who are wondering, when you have President Macron attending your funeral and singing your praises, was President Déby a Pan-Africanist? Was he, in your opinion?
Well, what is a Pan-Africanist? I think a Pan-Africanist is someone who has a vision not limited by the borders of his country, a positive vision for peace, for stability, for security, and for development, and outside of his own borders and extending to other African countries. So he can be squarely be put in that and say he's a Pan-Africanist. Chadian soldiers were in Mali with the battle against the terrorists there. They are also to be seen in some of the West African countries in the Sahel, and they have been a reliable force for that. So for him to be able to build such a machine and deploy it and utilize it, and I think he is more than a Pan-Africanist as far as I'm concerned. Or to be moderately put it, he is actually a Pan-Africanist whose vision is that of an Africa that is free of terrorism and one that will entrench peace and also bring an end to violence and bloodshed, especially with the collapse of Libya after the death of Gaddafi.
Right. I'm not sure if you have seen this video. There's a video I just want to play, and then I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
That video was sent to me by a reliable source, and we were told that those are Chadians crossing to somewhere around Cameroon and just a few kilometers away from the borders of Nigeria. And for us, it's a situation where it's just a few days of his passing, we already have these amount of people crossing to Cameroon, and eventually, obviously, some of them will end up in Nigeria. In all of these, there are going to be genuine refugees, and of course, the potential of having terrorists come across into the borders of Nigeria. How is, in your opinion, what does this really mean for Nigeria with this early onset of refugees coming into Nigeria from Chad?
Well, let me give you an idea of what is happening here. There are Nigerian refugees in Benin Republic as a result of herdsmen violence in the southwestern part of Nigeria. And there are also Nigerian refugees in Niger Republic as a result of the activities of bandits in northwestern part of Nigeria. And there is also Nigerian refugees in Cameroon as a result of the activities of terrorist groups in the northeastern part of Nigeria. And ironically, there is also Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria as a result of separate separatist and nationalist violence that is happening in Cameroon. So we are interchangeably living together and becoming, availing ourselves to be host to our neighbors as they are to us in terms of crisis, in terms of violence. So it is not unusual to see refugees moving from Chad to Nigeria or to Cameroon. A refugee moves to away from danger to where there is relative safety. And this is what is happening. In Chad now, the war is going on. The, the Front for Change and Concord, I think this is what they call themselves, northern part of Chad, is still fighting, and it is still they are certain that it's going to continue to fight until it wipes out the Davis clan from power. So, and when you have such a rebel movement, the people of that state or that nation will naturally be the victims, and they will have to move. So it is not a problem when refugees are moving, but our own concern is when terrorists are also moving along with them. But what do we have to fear when Chadians are moving in here, when already our hands are full with terrorist activities here? And they have also offers solace and protection to our own people. So it is time for us to reciprocate that way and just ensure that they are well protected. Uh, the borders in West Africa is porous, and violence and crisis also have made it worse. So we cannot isolate or isolate ourselves from the crisis that is happening in the very geopolitical zone where we belong or where we exist. So it is natural for us to have such refugees moving towards our country. After all, within even our country, we have IDPs who are being displaced as a result of banditry and still insurgency. So it's something that we have been used to, and I think this is one of so many that is currently happening.
Right. There is Diet Africa watching from YouTube. She wants me to ask you about the security situation in Kaduna.
Well, thank you for that question. Well, to update you today, around 9 to 10 a.m. today, bandits invaded a church in a local government which is not very far away from my house here where I'm talking to. They kidnapped some people and killed some people this morning. And in the last 5 to 6 days, more than 100 people have been kidnapped and they are still in the bushes with bandits. And many of that number have also been killed by bandits. Right now, people have resorted to reaching out to bandits and negotiating the release of their own loved ones, their brothers, their sisters, or their children. And as they have had the bodies of some of these students of Greenfield University, which is just a university in the outskirts of my own city here, 3 of the students were found, and the stories of people who are killed by bandits, either for the families unable to raise ransom, or when the victims tries to escape, is so much. We are in a state where you hardly find a family that doesn't have the tale of knowledge of kidnapping or experience of kidnapping. And it is something that happens every day. The ones that can be reported are reported, and many are even not reported. So it is as if now our city is under siege from all sides. You cannot move in an evening like this, a kilometer or two outside of Kaduna, without finding yourself in the hands of bandits.
Wow.
We used to move to our city by road, Now the road is a no-go area, though they have deployed some soldiers, women soldiers, who are somehow doing their best. But I have even learned that even early this morning along that route, some villages there were some kidnapping that took place, and it reached up to 30 people. So the roads is risky, and the airport. If you have to go to the airport now, you have to move outside of the city to reach the airport. And the outside of that city is where the College of Forestry and Mechanization exists, where those students, 30 of them, many of them are still in the hands of kidnappers, transported out of Kaduna to Zamfara State. That is where it exists. So you also have, so it's even dangerous. There was even a time the Federal Airport Authority issued a statement that they will not entertain flight anything after 5 p.m. because even if you land in Kaduna safe, now to move from the airport to the city is another problem for you. So now the only safe means of coming into Kaduna and going out of Kaduna is the trains. The trains it moves at least 3 to 4 times in a day. That's the safest way to which we can come to our city. So
Wow.
this is the situation which we are in for now.
Wow. Wow. That is so sad, so scary. I want to ask you, in your opinion, what happened to the Nigerian army? The Nigerian army that once was the echo, formed part of the echo mob that went to secure other countries, even Lebanon. What happened to that army? Why is Nigeria jittery now that um, uh, the Chadian president is gone and that his army is so powerful and has been very helpful in protecting, keeping Boko Haram at bay? What happened to the Nigerian army we used to know, or at least we had an idea about, that was so, gallant?
First of all, we have an army that has a good track record of fighting wars and battles. But this battle, this war against terror, is something that has overstretched the capacity and the capability of our force. It is not a battle between a national army and a rebel group that is such a fight. It is a terrorist organizations and also bandits groups that we are fighting. What happened to the Nigerian army is simply, I can say, corruption. Corruption in the sense that in the last 1 decade, hundreds of millions of dollars that were allocated for the fight against insurgency and terrorism and banditry was siphoned off by politicians and also top ranks of the military. So the crisis became a cash cow. The war became the means to which people have enriched themselves. You have rich military officers, rich politicians who have made billions or millions of dollars or pounds through the continuation of this violence. So it is a business to them, and they don't want it to come to an end. And that is why it prolonged this state. And then the second mistake when this government took over was the fact that the service chiefs that have failed to liberate our country from terrorism and banditry were retained by the president, and he hesitated in removing them, making it impossible for the army. How can a country like this, that has prioritized defense and security in the last 5 to 6 years in terms of budget, free allocation, and release of funds, to be unable to crush these insurgents? It even reached a point where soldiers were protesting for lack of equipment, lack of weapons, and lack of welfare on the front lines, while we know very well that billions was allocated and funds were released to the military. Many soldiers were arrested and even jailed for raising issues that has to do with absence of or lack of equipment and weapons to fight. So you can see that it is not that our army are unable to fight terrorists and so on, but the issue of corruption is endemic in the system and has incapacitated our army from being able to fight. Even from our police force, millions, billions have been allocated as budgetary funds for the police, but you only need to go to a divisional police office and see that they lack even the basic equipment which they communicate with each other. Their vehicles are outdated and they are not functional, and they use weapons that are of lesser grade than the ones which the bandits and the terrorists are using. So you can see that the problem is more of corruption than anything else, and this has led to us being dragged for almost 1 decade, from 1989 to date. The battle is still going on, and it's even getting worse.
Right. President Bia, Déby, sorry, Idriss Déby. President Déby, we heard that died due to the gunshot wounds he got from being in the front line. And many people are asking why did he have to go to the front line? I mean, he's already the president or head of state, however he's referred to. What was the reason why he had to go to the front line to fight, Boko Haram or the terrorists? But in Nigeria, we have a system where even the service, the heads of the generals, the big boys of the army, cannot even leave Abuja to go to where the problem is. What is then going to be the solution, in your opinion? What is going to be the way forward?
Well, I'm sure you will not expect our president at his age now to pick a rifle or a machine gun and start fighting. But for Idriss Déby, I think it has been his passion to be in the front line and to fight. And he did that when the fight against Boko Haram was on some few months ago, and he got praises and accolade for being able to achieve success. But Boko Haram may not be as potent and dangerous as the rebel in his country, in the sense that they are from his country and they know the terrain, and many of them are also from the Chadian army, and they have moved to the other side to fight. So they are most likely to know where to hit and when to hit and how to hit. So, front line as a commander-in-chief. But for people who are being fired up by patriotism, by zeal, and by passion, that they also want to be on the front line, and that is where he got himself there. But we just hope that this narrative is the truth, that he died on the front line as a result of gunshots that he sustained from the battle. But he need not to do that as a commander-in-chief, but he has done it, and this has been the cost of what he has actually done.
And our generals, our command, what they call them, the chief of army staff, and all these people, they're not the president of Nigeria. They're not the president of Nigeria. Why do we have them not even able to go to the places where these problems in the northeast or the north, where Boko Haram and banditry is, having a field day? If we can have a Chadian president who is already a sitting president get up and go to the front line, why do we have service chiefs or these people heading the army refusing to even go close to the epicenter of wherever the problem is in Nigeria? and what is going to be the way forward if we continue with this sort of attitude?
Well, I think it is the part of the problem we have been having here. Whenever you have a serious, spectacular attack that leads to the killings of of many people, or destruction of villages or whatever, you will see this deception by the our military hierarchy that the army chief has relocated to either northeast, or he has relocated to northwest, or he has relocated to where the battle is. Whenever the media are off, then he returns back to his base. We have had a situation where in the last few years, the IG of police said he has relocated to Benue, where there are a lot of killings. And immediately the press covered that he was there. He returned back at night. And then the same thing with the former chief of army staff, when it was revealed everywhere that that he has that Idriss Déby has led the battle from the front. Then we heard that the chief of army staff has relocated to Maiduguri. So only some 2-3 days later, you now start seeing chief of army staff in Abuja attending seminars and conferences. So this is the way they have been deceiving Nigerians for a very long time. And deception is part of the problem why we have not been able to achieve success in the battle against the insurgents and also the bandits.
Right. I know that you have to run off because you have to go to, you have other engagements. We talked about it. So finally, I just want to ask, with this system of Chad now having the son of Idriss Déby taking over the reins. It's not a monarchy. It's not a monarchy system. How do we celebrate a people or an authority that is handed over from father to son? Is there nobody else in Chad? Is there no people, no person at all who can fill that position? Why does it have to be Idriss Déby's son? In your opinion, what do you reckon?
I think Chad is only following what other African leaders have been doing in terms of turning an elected position into a hereditary one. It's also prevalent in Nigeria, where governors impose their children as members of State House of Assembly, or their wives as senators, or their own brothers as next gubernatorial candidates, or their in-laws. So it is something which is also prevalent in our country here. So what Chad has done it is that they have simply done it to a larger scale of the presidency. And looking at the situation it is in Chad now, for now, we should simply accept the fate that his son has taken over, and he should stabilize the country and organize credible elections and hand over power. Because one of the reasons why some people pick up arms against Déby was the fact that he has perpetuated himself in power, refusing to conduct credible elections, changing constitutions, and re-emerging as the candidate and the winner. So I think this should be a lesson, not just for the people of Chad, but also for Nigerians whose politicians in power are also bringing their own blood relations to take over from them.
Thank you. And just before you go, do you think he would actually go ahead to have elections in that country?
Well, it depends on how he's able to stabilize the country for now, but I think he has the backing from the regional countries and also from the foreign powers to be the leader of Chad, and he has this backing. So it's an opportunity for him to utilize or to waste. But one thing he will do that will put his name in gold is to ensure that the country transit to a democratic rule within the shortest possible time he's able to address this issue. And the other important thing is for him to maintain the solidarity, the unity, and the collectiveness of the battle against the terrorists that are operating within the Lake Chad and the Sahel.
Thank you so much, Senator Shehu Sani. Thank you. I know you have to run off. So I just want to say a very big thank you. I do hope that next time you have more time to give to us. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
All right, people. Yes, Senator Shehu was so gracious. You know, he had other engagements, but he just accepted our invitation in a heartbeat the moment we asked. And I had to, of course, respect the fact that he has to run off. Usually our Sunday broadcast is usually longer than this, but of course it was jam-packed and very informative. So I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Welcome, Princess Ivy Osawe. Greetings, yes. So of course, you know, as things continue to unfold, we begin to see things, you know, a little differently. You know, some of us had worries about seeing that video of people crossing from Chad into Cameroon, and then of course ending up in Nigeria with all the security issues we already have to face. You know, the worry for many people was the fact that there will be Boko Haram, there will be bandits, there will be all kinds of terrorists, whatever name they might be called, that will also come, you know, in that multitude of people that we saw on that bridge, you know. And so the worry was, how do we know who is a genuine refugee and who is a terrorist? But, you know, like Senator Shehu said, Nigerians, there have been Nigerian refugees who have spilled into Chad, Benin Republic, and all the other places. And likewise, vice versa, from Cameroon to Nigeria. At this point in time, we just keep our fingers crossed and hope to God that what we have does not go from bad to worse. In fact, it is at worse right now. For a lack of a better word to describe it, we just hope that we don't end into some kind of chaotic situation that takes us to a brink. And so for everyone who joined us on this broadcast, thank you so much. If you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed to our channels, please do so. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube. When you subscribe, remember to press the bell button so that you know when we are live or when we post new materials. Also follow us on our Instagram handle, which is Africa_Rise.tv. Follow our page at SWOB21, SWOB21 on Facebook. It has been Senator Shehu here on Africa Rise with us talking Chad. And of course, as we go into the week, I will be announcing who our next guest is going to be. And until then, I just want to say thank you. I love you. God bless you. And keep it locked here next Saturday and Sunday. Goodbye.